Episode 103, Should I Propose? A Hug First. After settling Little Bun, Ningxi started to coax him to sleep. Little Bun insisted on hearing Ningxi sing. As a result, Ningxi sang several songs that Little Bun usually liked, but the little guy still stared at her with bright eyes, showing no intention of falling asleep. "Baby, aren't you sleepy? How about Auntie tells you a story?" Ningxi tentatively asked. Little Bun vigorously shook his head. Ningxi touched her chin. "Do you still want Auntie to sing?" Little Bun nodded. "Didn't you like the songs I just sang?" Ningxi asked again. Little Bun nodded. Ningxi seemed to understand. "Then, Auntie will sing you a different one?" Little Bun continued to nod, his eyes filled with anticipation and a hint of fear of disappointment. Ningxi thought for a moment and then sang, "Sleep, sleep, my dear baby, mommy's hands gently rocking you." After changing to this song, Little Bun's face immediately brightened. He rubbed against Ningxi, snuggling into her arms, and obediently closed his eyes. Ningxi chuckled and patted Little Bun's head. So, he wanted to hear the song. During the time when she sang to Little Bun at the old house, the little guy was in a delirious state, but subconsciously, he must have heard it. So, he had been wanting to hear this song again, but because he was confused and didn't know which one Ningxi had sung at the time, it wasn't until she sang it again that he finally felt satisfied. With the gentle melody, Little Bun soon fell into a sweet sleep. Ningxi, feeling reassured, deliberately touched Little Bun's forehead to make sure his temperature was normal before finally putting her mind at ease. After giving Little Bun a gentle kiss on the forehead, Ningxi quietly moved away from the bed, preparing to check on Big Bun. She knocked on the door, but there was no response. Did he sleep so early? This wasn't in line with Lu Tingxiao's usual schedule, right? Ningxi, with suspicion, pushed open the door and found that the bedside lamp was still on, the laptop was still open, and Lu Tingxiao was half leaning on the bed, asleep. Looking at the heavy shadows under his eyes, Ningxi couldn't help but frown. Previously, Lu Tingxiao had said that the company wasn't busy recently, but in fact, it was probably a lie. That guy, Lu Jingli, had been fooling around outside for so long, Lu Tingxiao's workload must have doubled. Moreover, he had picked her up at the airport in the middle of the night, and later, Little Bun got a fever. She had accompanied Little Bun to sleep for a while, but he must not have slept for a whole day and night. Ningxi walked quietly over, gently helped Lu Tingxiao up, adjusted the pillow, took off his coat, and then let him lie down properly. After covering him with a blanket, closing the laptop, turning off the light, Ningxi was about to leave. However, at the moment she got up, she didn't move. Bathed in the moonlight from outside the window, she silently looked at the man's perfect face, a face that was favored like an emperor's. Even though it was a face that was perfect but cold, ruthless, and distant, for some reason, as she continued to look, it was as if she was irresistibly drawn in by a huge vortex, unable to move her gaze away. Moreover, she couldn't help but want to get closer. Thinking like this, Ningxi uncontrollably returned to the bedside, leaned over, and by the time she realized it, her ink-black hair hung over the man's shoulder, and she was just a breath away from the man's thin lips. At the moment she almost kissed him, Ningxi suddenly came to her senses, as if there was a wild beast chasing her from behind. In a hurry, she quickly moved away. What Ningxi didn't know was that, just as she left, the man on the bed suddenly opened his eyes, and his deep eyes were clear. The man in bed suddenly opened his eyes, and his deep eyes were clear, devoid of any trace of drowsiness. Just now, he had leaned on the bed, closing his eyes to rest for a while. When Ningxi knocked on the door, he was in a light slumber, and indeed, he didn't hear it. However, when Ningxi pushed open the door, he had already awakened. However, for some reason, perhaps due to a certain state of mind, he did not immediately open his eyes. Later, Ningxi carefully helped him undress, assisted him in lying down, and covered him with a blanket. Although he knew she only regarded him with concern and respect as her boss and superior, feeling the girl's silent care, Lu Tingxiao still felt as if cold blood had been injected with warmth, sweeping away all fatigue. However, at this moment, he thought the girl had finished these preparations and left. Strangely, he noticed that the girl's footsteps moved slightly, but then suddenly disappeared. She didn't leave, nor did she move. In fact, he seemed to sense the girl's gaze falling on him. What was she doing? What was she looking at? Unfortunately, at this moment, he couldn't open his eyes and could only continue pretending not to know anything, lying still on the bed, concentrating on every subtle sound around his ears. The girl stood at the edge of his bed, remaining silent for a long time. It was so quiet that merely being looked at by such eyes had caused a slight reaction. Finally, he heard an extremely subtle sound, the rustling of clothes. Ningxi seemed to be approaching him? In his moment of doubt, he unexpectedly felt something light and ticklish falling on his shoulders. Then, he sensed the familiar and sweet breath of the girl. A flash of insight crossed his mind, and he finally understood. The ticklish feeling was the girl's hair, and she was currently very close to him. In that instant, Lu Tingxiao's heart almost stopped beating, and his entire body's blood almost flowed backward. A surge of electricity rushed through his spine, and a warm flow rose in his lower abdomen. What was she doing? Lu Tingxiao lay stiffly there, not daring to make a sound. The girl got closer. Closer. The next second, he almost thought that the long-awaited soft and sweet touch was about to land, but the girl's breath suddenly moved away, followed by the sound of hurried footsteps leaving. Lu Tingxiao opened his eyes and almost thought that what just happened was a dream. But no, it wasn't a dream, it was all real. Ningxi had indeed done something strange, something he found hard to understand. After all, he had just closed his eyes and couldn't be sure what she was doing. But judging by intuition, she seemed to want to kiss him. Until the last second, she changed her mind? Or was everything just his imagination? Maybe she was only removing something dirty from his hair, and he misunderstood? Heh. Lu Tingxiao supported his forehead, looking at his strong reaction down below, he bitterly smiled. He felt like he was going crazy. How could it be possible? Why would she want to kiss him? This kind of thing was something only he could possibly do. And he, just because of his own imagination, because of an illusory and non-existent kiss, his body had this kind of reaction. Lu Tingxiao hurriedly got up and entered the bathroom in the room. The icy water did nothing to lower the temperature of his body. The fire inside him burned more vigorously. Xiaoxi. Finally, the man could no longer endure, and his hand reached under him, moving slowly. Fantasizing about what might have happened if the girl had really kissed him just now, imagining an intimate encounter, unexpectedly, he released everything. After coming out of the guest room, Ningxi escaped to the balcony. It took a while for the cold wind to blow, and she finally became somewhat clear-headed. Ah, damn it. Beauty is truly deceiving. She had almost taken advantage of the sleeping devil just now. It was downright crazy. Fortunately, she woke up at the last moment and stopped the sinful act. Indeed, it was too dangerous and self-torturing to have such a tempting and alluring big cabbage beside her that she could only look at but not eat. Ningxi was repenting on the balcony, and her phone in her pocket rang. There was a new message, from Annie. Ningxi's eyes lit up, immediately becoming completely awake. She opened the message. Annie, brother Shi, are you there? Ningxi replied immediately, yes, what's going on? Annie, something is wrong with Big Brother's mood these past few days, extremely, extremely, extremely bad. Ningxi frowned, what happened? How bad was it for Annie to use extremely 3 times? Annie, I think Big Brother must have had a quarrel with Brother Shi again. Ningxi thought she might get some important information, but after seeing this message, she couldn't help but twitch her mouth. You're thinking too much. I haven't contacted him, how could I have quarreled with him? After sending this message, Ningxi suddenly felt something was off. Oops, something was wrong. Didn't she seem to have had a quarrel with that guy some time ago? Because of the incident in Philadelphia, she was so angry that she sent him a text scolding him as a turtle and bastard, right? Could it be because of that? The more Ningxi thought about it, the more likely it seemed. Annie, brother Shi, don't hide it from me. I already know. Are you angry because of what happened in Philadelphia? Big Brother didn't mean to hurt you. Big Brother was very angry when he found out. It wasn't Big Brother's order, it was the people below acting on their own. Big Brother has already made them pay the price. After seeing this message, Ningxi's expression was slightly stunned. So that was it? No wonder she always felt something was strange about that matter. It didn't seem like the guy's style of doing things. However, in her anger at the time, she didn't think much about it. Besides, that guy's personality was unpredictable, and women were fickle. Who knew when he had changed? Everything was possible and couldn't be deduced by common sense. However, this matter wasn't the key point. The key point was that after that incident, she vaguely sensed a possibility she had never thought of before. There might be some other connection between that guy and Lu Tingxiao. Every time that guy mentioned Lu Tingxiao, his attitude was too subtle. Did they have some deep-seated grudge? This intuition grew stronger and stronger, so she couldn't help but take the risk and make a trip back to St. Bernadette to ask senior sister Feng Xiaoxiao for help in verifying this matter. Alright, I know now. Is there anything else? Ningxi sent another message. Annie, in addition, brother Shi, you asked me to act as an undercover agent, right? I've been paying attention. Recently, someone has been causing trouble for Big Brother outside, so Big Brother has been at sea during this time with nothing unusual. However, I just learned some news, and I'm a bit worried. Ningxi immediately tensed up. What news? Annie, I just saw that Big Brother gave Brother Knight a mission. Ningxi, what level? Annie, S level. Ningxi looked at the two letters S level on her phone and suddenly turned pale. Sure enough, if it wasn't an S level mission, Annie wouldn't be nervous enough to take the risk and inform her. Damn it. What kind of mission did that guy arrange? Not only was it S level, but he also had Tang Yi personally involved. Could it be related to Lu Tingxiao? At the same time, in the largest casino in Las Vegas, inside a luxurious private room, a tea table was piled high with mountains of account books. A man wearing gold-rimmed glasses, exuding an air of sophistication, sat on a genuine leather sofa. Under the man's feet was a pool of blood. A bald man was holding his severed right hand, convulsing in pain. The others stood there trembling, beads of sweat pouring down their faces. At this moment, the computer on the closed tea table suddenly started automatically. The screen displayed a blood-red letter S, accompanied by a sharp alarm. When everyone in the private room saw this symbol, expressions of terror appeared on their faces. S-level mission? What major incident had occurred? Even Tang Yi's expression became solemn. He raised his hand, signaling everyone else to leave. Instantly, everyone hurriedly left at the fastest speed. Only Tang Yi remained in the private room. Tang Yi pressed a key on the keyboard, and the next moment, a video appeared on the computer screen. The sound of waves came from the speakers, and the video showed a night sky full of stars. Under the moonlight, there was a wooden deck, and a blurry figure could be vaguely seen. Tang Yi's expression became unusually serious as he looked at the person in the video and asked, Satan, what happened? The organization's tasks were divided into 4 levels, A, B, C, and D. A-level tasks had even more important and challenging missions, and then there were S-level tasks. The last time he took an S-level task was over 3 years ago, and at that time, they almost suffered a total defeat. Therefore, it was understandable why Tang Yi was so nervous. In the video, the dim figure lay on the deck, looking up at the starry sky. One knee was bent, and one arm was casually placed over the head. After a while, under Tang Yi's calm gaze, the person spoke softly, Yi, am I really bad at pursuing women? After waiting for half a day, preparing for the worst, thinking it was some shocking news, he ended up hearing such an irrelevant question. Cracks appeared on Tang Yi's face like a spider's web. Did you find me just to ask this? Of course not. The man spoke as if saying, how could that be? Would I be so foolish? Then he reminded, Yi, you haven't answered my question yet. Although Tang Yi was used to the man's unpredictable personality, he still couldn't quite handle it. After taking a deep breath, he suppressed the emotions surging in his chest and patiently answered, yes. Well, as expected, only you would dare to tell me the truth. The man sighed, then asked, do you think I should propose to her? What? Tang Yi's face under the glasses almost collapsed. Propose? This guy. Why did his thoughts have to be so erratic? Well, I'm truly a genius. Before Tang Yi could speak, the man had already started talking to himself. On the video call, Tang Yi pinched his brow, enduring it. Satan, I must remind you that there are rumors outside. At least for the next month, you absolutely cannot leave this area. I know, of course. So, help me with it. The man spoke in a matter-of-fact tone, extremely provocative. Tang Yi's calm and composed face finally completely cracked. Gritting his teeth, he said word by word, so, your so-called S-level mission is for me to help you propose to my little junior sister? That's right. The man gave an affirmative reply. Tang Yi pinched his brow, took a deep breath, as if suppressing his emotions. After a while, he spoke with a cold face, showing no mercy to the person on the video. I'm sorry, but I refuse this mission. After being decisively rejected, the person in the video showed no anger at all. With a good-natured tone, he said, well, then I'll have to go myself. Absolutely not. Tang Yi, enduring the impulse to kill his master, finally compromised after mentally killing a certain someone 100 times. Fine, I'll go. On the deck, the man got up, his long fingers supporting the messy hair in front of his forehead. In the darkness, he revealed a non-malicious smile. Only successes allowed, no failure, okay? Tang Yi said, you might as well go straight to hell. He would rather take on a real S-level mission. Ha ha ha. Finally infuriating Tang Yi to the brink, the man laughed happily, seemingly satisfied. After laughing enough, he squinted his eyes and said ominously, if successful, bring her back. If failed, convey a message for me. Heh, where did this guy get the confidence to think there was a chance of success? He wasn't good at pursuing girls, and when it came to matters of the heart, his emotional intelligence was simply a disaster. But Tang Yi knew that once he decided on something, it was absolutely unchangeable. If it didn't go his way, he would definitely run out to have fun. The consequences at that time were unimaginable. On the balcony, after indulging in random thoughts for a while, Ningxi quickly calmed down. Why was she thinking about Lu Tingxiao and everything? This was an S-level mission, definitely an internal matter of the organization. Finally lying down on the bed, just as she closed her eyes to sleep, her right eye kept twitching. Right eye twitching, disaster? Just as she thought about it, the right eye stopped, and the left eye started twitching. Left eye twitching, wealth. What was going on with her left and right eyes? Was it disaster or wealth? The next morning, Ningxi deliberately woke up early, personally went to the kitchen, and made breakfast. She prepared simple seafood porridge, heart-shaped poached eggs, and some appetizing side dishes that she usually pickled herself. It all looked very appetizing. While arranging the dishes, a sudden soft force hit her calf. She lowered her head and saw that little bun had woken up. Baby's awake. Go wash your face and brush your teeth. The toiletries and clothes had all been delivered by the housekeeper last night, so she didn't need to worry about it. Little Bun shook his head, tilting his small head and opening his short arms, indicating that he wanted a hug first. Ningxi naturally wouldn't refuse, smiling and satisfying the little guy's request. Just as they were getting affectionate, footsteps came from behind. Turning her head, she saw Lu Tingxiao waking up. It wasn't the first time she saw Lu Tingxiao right after waking up, but today, she felt that something was different. It seemed like his gaze was a bit different. In the past, Lu Tingxiao's gaze at her was always gentle and tender, like a gentle breeze, or rather, it was a healing and herbivorous gaze. But now, that gaze gave her a feeling that everything before was just a surface, and the seal of the great demon king was slowly being lifted. After all, she almost did something improper last night, feeling a bit guilty. She didn't dare to look too much and cleared her throat. Boss, you're awake. Freshen up, and we can eat. Lu Tingxiao restrained his emotions, retracted his inquisitive gaze, and resumed his usual cool expression. In.